my old town.
Yeah, exactly, you are. All right, good on your ass. Thank you for that. Well, for more on those tensions with France and the EU, our Europe correspondent Sarah Greenock is live in Paris tonight. Sarah, good evening to you. You are getting a real sense of how they are feeling in that country. The French anger showing no signs of disappearing.
Michael, good evening. They are not happy here at all. In the past 24 hours of having chats with various people, words like disturbing, strange and hurtful have been used to describe the ongoing crisis, as they describe it, between Paris and Canberra. And commentators here say the shock and the hurt being expressed by the French is very genuine. They do admit that they knew there were some problems with the subs deal in terms of delays and costs, but they had no idea that Australia had a very serious plan B in the works, and there are now plans for parliamentary inquiries, questions being asked here about how even the country's intelligence services didn't know that this was coming. This morning there was a Defence Council meeting held at the Elysee Palace and led by President Macron, and then in the past few hours a spokesperson for the country's Defence Department has put this pretty incredible thread on Twitter explaining from their perspective what he calls the Australian submarine affair. I'll just read you one of those tweets. It says that on the same day as the August announcement was made, the Australians wrote to France to say they were satisfied with the submarine's achievable performance and with the progress of the program. Now, that is completely different to what Scott Morrison is saying. He said that the French were told many months ago that they no longer needed these diesel submarines. Yesterday, Michael, we interviewed a French senator, Joëlle Garrier-Malem. She's been in the French Senate for 17 years. She's also the vice chair of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly. And she says it's pretty simple. If the Aussies had come to them to say, we no longer need these subs, we want nuclear ones instead, they would have happily provided them.
When you're friends, you need to speak together. If there's a problem, you discuss it, you find solutions. But you don't just divorce. This is incredible. Even in the worst marriage, nobody ever asked us about providing nuclear-powered submarines, which would have been much easier for us. President Macron met with your Prime Minister. But when Morrison came to Paris, he never mentioned that.
The senator there pointed out to us, Michael, that the big winner in all of this is the intended target, China, who is very happy about these divisions that are being caused. President Macron is due to speak with Joe Biden. We just have no idea exactly when that will be. Of course, not happy with the Americans either.
All right, Sarah Greenock getting a real feel of the sentiment in Paris. Thank you for that. Victoria Police have defended their handling of today's violent protests after that angry mob of tradies travelled through the city before blocking Melbourne's Westgate Freeway. Here's the state's Chief Commissioner.
The type of activities committed by these people today, by these cowards, was disgraceful. Any police force anywhere in the world would have been challenged by a snap demonstration of this nature, and it was a challenging and confronting environment. We chose to prioritise public safety throughout the day so that we could ensure community members weren't injured.
Yeah, the police chief speaking tonight. Sarah Jones is our reporter live at Vic Police Headquarters tonight. Sarah, good evening to you. What else did the Commissioner have to say?
Good evening, Michael. Well, 62 people have so far been arrested and 3 police officers were injured after the wild scenes across Melbourne today. It kicked off this morning around 10 a.m. when hundreds of protesters swarmed the CFMEU offices on Elizabeth Street, but the standoff between protesters and police lasted all day. At one stage this afternoon, they even took to the Westgate Bridge, bringing traffic to a standstill for around 2 hours. No doubt terrifying so many motorists caught up in that chaos. Also caught up in that chaos was our Channel 7 news reporter Paul Dowsley, who was covering the protest today. Now, at one stage he was put in a headlock. Urine was thrown at him and his cameraman, and a little later in the day a can was actually piffed to the back of Dowsley's head.
Yeah, they were pretty terrible scenes, Sarah, there's no doubt about that. But there's a suggestion, worryingly, that the same group plans to demonstrate daily. The police, no doubt, have had a strong message for them or anyone planning to cause trouble.
The message is quite simple, Michael. If you do it, you are putting lives in unnecessary danger. Our Premier Daniel Andrews also released a statement late this afternoon saying there is no excuse for terrible behaviour we've seen in our city over the last 2 days. For those who think violence is the answer, I ask that you think of your fellow Victorians doing the right thing over many months following the advice of health experts. We have come too far to turn back. Now, there are more than 300 active cases of coronavirus across the construction industry, and they won't be allowed back to work until they've received at least one jab. Michael?
All right, Sarah Jones in Melbourne. Thank you.
And that's the news in Australia.
Some relief among parents in